All right, everybody, good afternoon. It's time for another one of these, another Seattle Mariners check-in. Unfortunately, as of the recording of this video, Baseball Reference hasn't updated for last night's game, but we're just going to go ahead knowing that it didn't change anything all that radically for anyone except, I guess, Castillo, who had a great outing last night, was big, needed it, and he came through. So let it be known that the Mariners are actually 17 and 13. So they are in first place in the AL West, which continues to be a pretty lackluster division, especially now with Trout missing most of the rest of the season, it looks like. So on the surface, things look pretty good. The team has been winning a lot more than they've been losing lately. They've been playing some really good baseball in some areas, and they've been so good in some areas, it has overcome how bad they've been in other areas. And if you know anything about this team, you already know what I'm talking about. This is pretty easy to explain, right? There isn't much more that need be said other than the Mariners' pitching staff, and I guess you could throw bullpen in there as well, has been remarkable, like historically good, and the offense has been abominable. And that has resulted in far more wins than losses over the last 10 games and has put us in a pretty decent position going into the last 132 games of the year. So I I don't necessarily expect that to be sustainable. The way I feel about the Mariners right now is it's like it doesn't matter what team they're playing. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter who the opposing pitcher is. They have a chance to win every game because their pitching is that good. They have a chance to lose any game because their hitting is that bad. So it's almost like it doesn't even matter who we're playing. It's just a randomizer black box that we throw games into, and it spits out wins and losses at random. So we have a game that starts in about 10 minutes here, I think, from the upload of this video. Fully expecting to get our teeth kicked in with Hancock on the mound against the Braves, but it sure would be nice to steal one. But yeah, there really isn't much more that need be said other than what I just went over. The offense is embarrassingly bad, and well, actually, I think you could argue pretty much everything else. The defense has been a little bit rough, but for the most part, everything else has been really good. And that has produced a pretty decent team through 30 games. So I don't believe that that's going to hold, but it's also very hard for me to believe that this team is going to continue to be this bad at the plate. It's not like we are surprised that our pitching is this good. Our pitching was supposed to be about this good. We were supposed to have one of the best rotations in the league, and we were supposed to have a good bullpen, although I think it's been better than expected. So it's not like we're shocked that the pitching's been like this. What's been shocking is how useless this offense has been for most of the season so far. I know Polanco had a big home run yesterday, but he's been a big disappointment, striking out way more than anticipated and generally being a net negative on the offense. Crawford was starting to kind of snap out of it, but then he got hurt. Don't know when he'll be back. Canzone was one of the few guys on the offense who was producing much of anything, and we're still waiting on him to get back. And his lack of his lack of presence, I guess I should say, has really hurt the outfield defense as well. It feels like Garver, he had a monster home run a couple days ago, but he's been mostly a black hole of non-production. Just really not even like it's not even the lack of production. It's how lost he looks at the plate most of the time. And I think he will come around. I think a lot of these guys will come around somewhat, but I will acknowledge the fact that they have been so bad so far, especially a guy like Garver, that it's hard to make it make sense without using the logic that he's just not good anymore, which I don't believe can possibly be the case. I don't think you can fall off a cliff this quickly, but these at-bats are ugly. But it's not limited to just one or two or even three players. Julio's been bad. Julio's at-bats have been mostly really, really painful to watch. He kind of started to turn it on I want to say last week, and then the last couple games he's been MIA, so he hasn't really gotten it back yet. He's starting to, but at this rate, it's not going to be enough. He's got to get it together. It's not early in the season anymore. We just hit May. It's not going to be super cold anymore. It's not going to be early season struggles anymore. He's got to get it together quickly. France, I mean, it hasn't been like last year where it just feels like a complete dead end every time he takes an at-bat, but it's still not, we're still not really thrilled about anything France is doing. He's okay, passable. Oddly enough, he's been better than most of the other guys on this team. And, I mean, the only real bright spots of this offense so far have been Rojas and Cal. Those guys have been pretty unimpeachably good. I guess you could throw Urias in there as well, but he doesn't take that many at-bats. So it's just, I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't see how this was going to happen. There was a clear and concerted effort on the part of the team this offseason to get better with the strikeouts, and it's worse than ever. And it makes you feel like it can't be the players. It has to be something this coaching staff is doing, something they're being told to do, because it's everybody. It's pretty much everybody. Even the guys who are playing relatively well, like Cal, he still strikes out a lot. So it feels like the approach has to be wrong. I don't know how else to put it other than that. So it's frustrating, but I also sit here and say it has to get better. It just has to. It can't hold at this bad of a level for this many players who are clearly better than this. We know Polanco's better than this. We know Garver's better than this. If there's one long-term thing that I'm really worried about with this team, it would probably be we're playing Haniger way too much. I think he's played 28 games out of 30, which is, we are really, really asking for trouble there. We are begging for him to get hurt or be completely useless at the plate, which, honestly, given how good he started out the season, the fact that he's still sitting at a 100 ops plus is bad. So the coaching staff, the front office, the manager, whoever puts these lineups together needs somebody to throw a rock at their head so they remember that, hey, Mitch Haniger is an older, injury-prone player. He cannot be playing every single game like this. This has gotten way, way too far out of control. And you can see it in some of these games, he just has nothing to give you. You got to give him days off or else he's going to be barely a league average hitter. I understand that the offense is terrible right now, but you don't need Mitch becoming a part of that. You don't need Haniger becoming part of the problem. He will be part of the solution, but not if you play him pretty much every game, which we are very close to having to have done that so far. I'd like him to play maybe 4 times a week. Maybe that's not realistic, but you could do 5 times a week easily. Let Raleigh play more. Let Luke Raleigh play more. I know he hasn't gotten off to a good start, but he hasn't gotten enough at-bats for me to believe that that's indicative of anything. So that's the one part that I'm really worried about. We are asking for trouble there, 100%. And personally, I would be really happy to see Haniger start to play 4 days a week. Get maybe 2 days off a week. Treat him like we used to treat. We had a player back in the several years ago, I think his name was Gutierrez, only played him 4 times a week, and it worked out really well. So that's the offense, ever frustrating, ever annoying, and yet somehow we're winning games because, again, like, it's really simple. The offense has been off the chain. Gilbert has been remarkable. Miller has been all-star level. Like, it's not even a meme anymore. Bryce Miller has been incredible through his first 6 starts. And you could make a semi-compelling argument he's been our best pitcher. So if that is in any way sustainable, like if Miller's able to even keep at like a 3.2 ERA the rest of the season, you're not going to be able to get rid of this team. They're going to be too good because Castillo's warmed up. He's had a couple really good games in a row. I think that by the time you hit June, he'll probably be back with above average numbers for the season. and he'll be cruising towards that ace status. And we're kind of in the same boat with Kirby, right? We're waiting for Kirby to get back to what he is. And I'm not worried about either guy at this point in time. I was worried about Castillo, but it looks like it really was just the early season weather getting him down. And Kirby had some really uncharacteristic starts, but we know how good he is. We know how good his location skills are. You can't keep that guy down forever. So once we get Wu back, it's going to be a really hard to crack rotation. And honestly, Hancock's been good in some of these starts as well, to the point where you could look at him and go, he could be a viable number 5 guy in a rotation, and it's not the end of the world. He's capable of throwing good stuff. He's capable of showing some really impressive stuff. So rotation's incredible. The bullpen, it really, really sucked the life out of me what happened with Brash. I'm not going to lie. And I'm worried about this bullpen long term without what he would give you. He's a really important part of what we do here. And we're going to need Stanek to figure out how to throw like one pitch competently, because right now he's got no control. He's all over the place. But it's been really, really good in there. Better than I was expecting. And it's not really even coming from Munoz, although Munoz has been mostly fine. It's more like Voth and Thornton have just taken this leap to where they are now viable parts of this bullpen that we can lean on and rely on, and combine it with Spear, who's been completely lights out, completely untouchable. They did it again. The Mariners did it again. They put together a bullpen out of spare parts. They put together a bullpen with guys that most people didn't know about before the season started. And it's a great collection of pitchers that very rarely cost us a game. So I'm worried about what happens late in the season when these guys are tired, because they're not going to have Brash coming back to lighten the load. And the other guy we have currently on the injured list, his name is slipping my mind at the moment. We have to pray that he can come back, but right now it doesn't look great. So I am worried about long term. I hope that there's somebody that we can acquire to ease things up a little bit. I know some people are saying we could maybe get Seawald back. That would be awesome. But right now, they've been nails. I know they've had a couple of bad moments. Like Munoz had that one game against Toronto where he literally walked the winning run in all the way. But eliminating that stuff from the equation, they've been really good. And it's not like that cost us the game. That just lost the game. That game was lost by the offense way more than anything that happened with the pitching. So I'm not even that mad about that, because I know who to really blame there. Okay, so, I mean, the defense, losing Crawford hurts the defense because Dylan Moore's rough out there. He's inconsistent. The third base spot has been better than I expected, because I really didn't have high expectations of our rotation there, but they've been great, or at least capable. Maybe great's a little much. Outfield, Outfield's been up and down. Like, Julio's been great defensively overall, I feel like, but Haniger's getting up there in age. You had Kleiss out there for a little bit. He's young. It's been up and down. But overall, the defense has been workable. Cal's been awesome behind the plate. And that's really about all that need be said. The team is winning way more than they're losing right now. But at the same time, it's like, what happens when this offense figures a little bit out? Right now, they're playing about as bad as humanly possible, and they're still winning. Like, these games are almost unwatchable at the plate with all these strikeouts, and yet they win over and over and over again. And it makes you believe that it has to get better at some point, just by random chance, if nothing else. And then what? All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Mariners. Just kind of had to ramble on about this one because it's interesting what's going on right now. I have some optimism. There are some things that I'm aware of can go wrong, but I think this is starting to trend in the right direction. But you're not going to be able to win games like this. This kind of offense is not going to be able to win games consistently. So either this crew figures it out, or the pitching's just going to go to waste. All right, see ya.